Every year, the global laboratory medicine community comes together to collaborate and improve patient outcomes and quality of life for all. It's the 2021 AACC Annual Scientific Meeting and Clinical Lab Expo, and we're AACC TV. It's the moment we've all been waiting for as the AACC comes to Atlanta, Georgia, with attendees gathering from across the country and the globe, both in person and virtually. We'll be bringing you some of the highlights from the meeting, including interviews with presidents, keynote speakers, as well as visiting labs around the world doing really innovative work in the field. On the show today, we'll hear from the speakers at the Women in Lab Medicine Diversity and Inclusion session, speak to this year's Disruptive Technology Award finalists, visit more labs and companies bringing new ideas and technology to the field, and make sure to stand by for our in-depth discussion on artificial intelligence in the clinic with Sunday plenary speaker Regina Barzilay. Remember, you'll find us here in the Georgia World Congress Center, in select hotels, on the virtual platform, on the meeting app, and find us online. First though, let's go to David Grenache for a warm welcome to the meeting.
Thanks, Tara, and welcome to Atlanta, everyone. I'm especially thrilled to be here with you all. The first time I've been able to see our members and attendees in person since 2019. It is so meaningful to be able to interact with you at this meeting, the one event specially designed by and for our community. I hope and believe that this meeting will fuel attendees' innovation, create new research collaborations, and most essentially, allow our community to truly connect with friends and colleagues who understand what everyone in the field has been through over these past many months. We are here to spend time learning from top-notch speakers and abstract authors, and we have the opportunity to get up close and personal with many of the innovations showcased at the Expo. While you're at it, I encourage you to reconnect in person with friends and colleagues after such a long period of time where that was not possible. And I hope you make new connections as well. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to patient care that we've seen showcased over and over during this ongoing pandemic. I am so grateful to you all.
Now in the first of our visits to labs around the world, it's Verivas, a company working on a new antibody detection platform which uses magnetic beads to create much cleaner samples.
Verivas is transforming the practice of laboratory medicine with a first-of-its-kind patented antibody detection platform to address unmet clinical needs.
Our new antibody detection platform is based on the 7C process. This is the process by which we clean patient samples of nonspecific or heterophilic antibodies, and then we can subsequently detect and measure IgA, IgG, and IgM immunoglobulins. The 7C process consists of the following steps. We condition the sample, again, to clean the sample and remove these interfering antibodies. And then with the clean sample, we can then add the capture reagent to selectively bind the antibodies that are specific to the antigen or protein that's on the capture bead. After we've captured the antibodies, we can then clean and concentrate the sample to increase sensitivity. We add a conjugate, we then cleave or elute the conjugate, and then finally we characterize or measure the conjugate on a fluorescent detector.
Remember, we've got a conversation with Sunday's plenary speaker coming up, Regina Barzilay. But as attendees move into the exhibition hall, let's hear where they've traveled from and why they're here.
I'm a lab director at Bergen Newbridge Medical Center in Paramus, New Jersey. I always come to AACC, and I come to AACC to network and learn the current topics, the current updates, especially the regulatory.
The director of laboratories for the ARUP laboratories in Salt Lake City, and also professor of pathology for the University of Utah. So I wanted to see people again in this wonderful meeting. Wanted to see what people have been doing over the last year and a half since I was able to attend. I'm also here to give a lecture on the topics of interest for me. So very happy to be here again.
Great to hear from some of those who have made it here to Atlanta. Plenty of great sessions and events to look forward to here in person and online. One of those is, of course, the AACC Disruptive Technology Award, and we got a chance to talk to some of the finalists.
The competition provides developers of diagnostic technologies a unique opportunity to present their work to a panel of expert reviewers and receive feedback and mentorship. And as well, they get the opportunity to connect with leaders in the diagnostic industry and research community.
Well, one of the reasons we applied for this competition is that the past winners and the current finalists are all incredibly credible, deep science, really good companies to be in the company of. And so it's great to see everyone pushing the boundaries on the science.
Yeah, our company is Mammoth Biosciences, and we are developing the next generation CRISPR platform for application across diagnostics, therapeutics, and more. It would be extraordinary for the team because we've worked so hard throughout the last 18 months through the pandemic to get to this product.
As each year, we have an excellent lineup of finalists that are doing groundbreaking work.
What we do, we listen to the immune response using biochemical sensors and computational algorithms and use that to make products that can potentially transform the way that we manage patients with acute infection. Actually, last week we announced a landmark FDA clearance after almost a decade journey. And if we win, we're going to use that to leverage our initial market introduction and to bring this to patients.
The final is on Monday at 4:30 p.m. My message to the finalists is I want to wish each and every finalist the best of luck. The fact that they have made it this far is already a great achievement because we had an excellent panel of applicants to choose from this year.
We don't consider any of the fellow finalists to be competitors in anything other than this competition. So in this context, I'd only say we're looking to beat them and to win.
Now to a company with their own disruptive technology. Visby Medical has developed a handheld PCR test which can be used to test for COVID-19 and much more.
Visby Medical was developed to make available highly accurate tests to anybody, anywhere, and for any disease.
We said, wouldn't it be great if we could run a format like a pregnancy test doing infectious disease?
I always wanted to see how the ideas that we create in the lab can actually make it all the way to actually helping people.
The US federal government has taken considerable interest in this device because it meets many of the needs for testing for COVID-19.
We have a device that actually works well. Our PCR test and a big PCR machine actually do show matching results.
It's the first single-use disposable PCR device. Nobody's ever built a device like this. It's the sincere aspiration of Visby Medical to be able to make them available to people wherever they find a need.
Now to Curative Inc., who are innovating across the board to get COVID-19 testing to the people who need it.
There are a lot of unmet public health needs in the US around accessible, affordable, convenient healthcare that Curative can fill.
We have a soup to nuts approach to beating COVID. Everything from reaching out to patients, finding locations, building new testing modalities, and then getting results to patients. At this point, we've done almost 7 million tests across the whole country, and we've set up over 8,000 testing sites.
Main mission of Curative is to make COVID to go away faster. Everybody is tired, everybody had enough. I'd really like us to go back to normal life as soon as possible.
Now for some insights from speakers at this year's session titled Women in Laboratory Medicine, a panel discussion on diversity and inclusion.
Equity, inclusion, diversity, all important and should be part of the culture of organizations, institutions, professional societies. I'd like to invite you to join me and 4 of my other colleagues as we talk about how we've navigated areas in our career and in our lives in which we may have been met with microaggressions and biases, how we've stood up for others, how we've been a voice, and what it means to really build environments in which the culture operates, ensuring that diversity, equity, and inclusion are at forefront.
This session will be a candid conversation with 3 remarkable clinical chemists who will share the challenges they have faced due to preconceived notions, conscious bias, and unconscious bias.
We are part of the same team as we have only one mission here, and that is to get the best possible tests for our cancer patients. We are having fewer and fewer students going into the field of medical technology and lab medicine, that I really do think we should reach out to all people of all backgrounds, as this is an excellent career that could give them many opportunities.
I'm very proud of the time that I'm spending now with the group of Latinos at Roche. Our goal is to really inform and bring the Latino community together at Roche. So I wanted to invite you to come to the session on Monday. You'll have some viewpoints from the research side, from the hospital side, and then from the industry side. I hope you join us. Thank you so much.
By opening the discussion and listening to our panelists, we hope to contribute to building a strong, supportive, and inclusive community within the AACC.
Next up, we hear some of the ways AI is being used in the clinic as we sit down with Dr. Regina Barzilay. First, though, a company using AI to better understand the language of the immune system. It's FBB Biomed.
Here we are 100 years later, now starting to fill in those gaps by using mass genetic sequencers, bioinformatics programs, very powerful computers. We need to start sequencing cells at the single cell level. Then we will learn what the language is of each individual cell.
We hear about artificial intelligence all the time, but what role does it play in the clinic? To help us explain is Sunday plenary speaker, Dr. Regina Barzilay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I firmly believe that AI will change healthcare because the whole healthcare field is about prediction. You're looking at the patient, you're looking at the symptoms of the patient, and then it's up to the physician, given all the lab work, to diagnose what will happen to the patient. And of course, as any human, physician is bound to make mistakes. So what AI can do is to take all the information available about the patient and make the predictions of what to come next. And we're already seeing some positive examples, but I think as the merging between the clinical science and AI will progress, we will see many, many more examples.
So explain how AI can exceed human limitations and what AI limitations are in and of itself.
When you're thinking about the most successful application of AI, I would suggest think about Amazon. What Amazon can do, it can suggest you products even before you yourself think that you need this product, correct? It kind of predict what are your tastes. It has the capacity in a very flexible and precise way to take all information about you to really kind of detect what would you like to predict the future.
And then the limitations of AI would be what?
So I would say there are some dangers that we should be aware, and they have to do with how AI learns. So AI learns from data, and this data today is collected by humans which brought a lot of their biases to the data when the data was annotated. Let's say you're looking at the data where patients were misdiagnosed, and AI takes it as a ground truth and tries to make its prediction consistent with whatever training data it obtained. Any biases that the training data has, AI will pick up. It is even more important now when we're thinking about creating equitable solutions. Many data sets were created with a particular subpopulation in mind. So one of the danger is creating tools that are just fitted for one type of people and do not serve everybody.
So how can AI be implemented into everyone's clinic around the world?
This is something that's actually happening now, and that's why we have such an exciting time seeing it happening. We already have multiple examples where machines are either used to assist physicians by providing the first diagnosis, or they are used to make predictions that human cannot do. For instance, I developed a model that can look at the mammogram and predict whether a patient will develop breast cancer within 5 years. And this model is deployed at Massachusetts General Hospital and other places around the country. So this is a place where AI gives you information that physicians cannot do. So we can not only reduce cost, make the care more equitable, but we can also think about capacity, which today's doctors cannot deliver.
It's fascinating. Dr. Barzilay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Really exciting work there from Dr. Barzilay. That's it from us for our first show at AACC 2021, but there's much more tomorrow as we look at vaccines with Margaret Liu, cannabinoids with Margaret Hustis, and weigh up on the opposing teams for this year's lab feud. Till then, find us here in the Georgia World Congress Center, in select hotels, on the virtual platform, on the meeting app, and find us online. We'll see you tomorrow.